It's probably good. Go to.
Okay. All right, we are set.
That's the other thing. I have had two.
We will never change to this one. Guarantee that. We're always gonna be like all over the place. It's a quick that bottom one. Oh, claims have gone. That's why you have it. Right, yeah. Like your name.
That's right. That's today.
I think it's the first. When you're trying to KW domain.
It's Cameron Wilson at KW.com.
Utah.
No, mine's Hunter.
How much better is it?
I have a
Like one of those things that plugs in
and then you can plug it. Yeah. Will you throw this on, Jen? Yep. I think it should be okay.
Right on, I'm gonna grab it anyway. Back of that whiteboard, driving me nuts.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm good there.
All right. Can you two, what's your name?
Yeah. Trey.
Trey, nice to meet you. Can you guys maybe kind of, maybe like,
I don't ever wear sunglasses inside. I got my eyes dilated.
Okay.
I figured there was a reason,
Yeah,
but
there's this very specific reason that never wears sunglasses.
Trey with an A or Trey with an E? EA. Ooh. No, you can't, like, you could even go right there. Actually, I might be over here.
Awesome. And then just so you were every Tuesday, Thursday, 3 o'clock, I have my open office hours. Go over it. And you outside of that, have any questions. Okay, pleasure to meet you.
Tuesdays, Thursdays. Where do you want me to sit?
Well, I'm gonna be right here. So I just didn't want to have to look that way and that way. And honestly, if there's just two of us, we might just sit in a circle. So last time they recorded this, but they didn't record it. So I guess we start now. What time is it? All right. Yes, it's actually Jennifer. Right there. Yep. So if it's just the two of us, we're just gonna have a conversation. The three of us.
Come all the way down here with this to 6 things and it doesn't have anything that's right.
What button am I supposed to push? That one.
How you doing, Trey? I'm Bill.
Okay, while we're waiting for a second, tell me what's your experience so far?
It's good.
How new are you?
So yesterday was my first day here.
Okay, that's pretty new. Okay, all right.
Good yesterday.
What did you do yesterday?
We talked about what to do if there's a for sale by owner,
Okay,
how to try and convince them how to let you sell.
okay. Tell me what you know about real estate.
Not a lot.
Okay,
We sell and buy houses for people pretty
Um,
much.
okay. And how long have you had your license before you came over here? A week. That's pretty fast. Okay,
Yeah, I passed the test 2 Wednesdays ago, got my license the next day. And then, yeah, interviewed people and then came here.
okay. What made you pick here?
I liked,
Because you hadn't met me yet. So
yeah, no,
just
exactly.
kidding.
I like the one-on-one coaching for the first 4 deals. That
Okay.
was really, I like how many classes you guys have like every day.
Yep.
To learn, so.
Okay, and good job coming. All right, Bill, not Josh.
So I am a transplant to Utah.
Okay.
I moved from Chicago, Illinois. I had a home inspection company out there. So I've got a little bit of experience with working with agents. When I got out here, I was gonna move my company, for various reasons, decided not to, sold it off. and decided to pursue career in real estate. I took my classes at another place. Had my license for about a month and a half.
Okay.
What was your next question? Why did I?
No, just tell me.
Oh, Keller Williams. Why am I Keller Williams? I interviewed probably 9 different brokerages. I met Kim Mingle
Okay.
on at Private Homes, which is super awesome. And she said, check out Keller Williams. Wasn't even on my radar. When I came in, met with Shani, I was very impressed with a lot of the support that you offer your agents, with the technology and the classes, the training. And it was between this broker and another one. The other one, I just had to go with that. So,
Cool.
so far, not disappointed.
Okay, so none of you have done a deal yet, right? Guess what? I'm not teaching you that today. So that's okay. All right. We're going to talk about your value. So what do you know about the NAR lawsuit? Which is not in here, so.
It was brought about by sellers, saying, hey, it's not fair that we're tied into paying a commission to somebody else's agent. We feel that they should. They won, and so now it is up to each agent on each side to negotiate their own commissions. However, in my mind, it's a negotiation for the purchase of the home. So everything's kind of workable in the negotiation. And ultimately, at the end of the day, the buyer would be responsible for the commission. And that is to be worked out between them and the agent.
Okay, Trey, what do you know?
Whatever he just said.
Okay. Okay,
Right on, man.
so before we start this, I want to go over that because that's kind of big and I have I have information. Okay, first of all, I'm probably biased, but Utah has been doing a buyer broker. The buyer's always been responsible for the commission. I've always said that they were responsible for the commission. They could just look on the MLS and see which houses did or didn't cover it. There's houses that offered $1. So for us, it's really not that different, but the media is portraying it. So you need to know this one for your value, and whether or not this is in here, I'm going to tell you this, okay? So back in the day, I'm getting up because I think I'm going to write, but I'm not sure. So back in the day, so I went to, UCAR has classes like they do in St. George, and they'll have a bunch of CE, and they have a legal panel that comes in. And one of the lawyers was saying back in the day, when sellers were trying to sell their houses, buyers couldn't afford their houses. So their buyer pool was really small because they have to get their closing costs covered and they have to get their down payment, and then they'd have to pay their buyer's agent. So sellers offered to cover that buyer's agent. This is kind of how I was taught that it was started, okay? Now, yes, they're complaining that it wasn't fair. That was their lawsuit, and he started his own company as soon as he got the settlement. The guy who started the lawsuit. Yep, he started his own discount brokerage. He bashes realtors, like I've seen his ads. Okay, so what he did was, we already had that. I forgot. Barry Habib, he's a market predictor. He has him, and he showed us his ad like, ooh, you're gonna get screwed. Okay, so, oops, sorry. So anyway, so back in the day, that's how it started. It got worked into commission. It got worked into the price over decades. Okay, so what the lawsuit was saying was, hey, it's not fair. We're paying people to negotiate against us, and it's not fair. We don't have another option, which we do. And Utah has always had a buyer broker agreement. It has always said if the seller is not covering it, you are responsible. None of that is different. Ours is really a lot the same. The only difference is now we don't know when we go into a house which ones offer and which ones don't. So, but yes.
Aren't they some posting it on the MLS saying
You-
sellers willing to?
You cannot. You cannot post anything about commissions on the MLS. You can post it on your postcards. You can post it on your Instagram. You can send out emails. You can do everything except for post anything about it on the MLS. So, but now we used to send in an offer before, And then we just had the MLS, which was our commission. Now there's a little state where a little spot on the offer where you can just put in what your commission is. So that part is pretty much the same, but you have to explain it. Well, I always explain it to my buyers, but most people never worried about it because 99.9% of the houses covered some sort of commission. And beforehand, you could put in, like I'd put in the lowest amount that I wouldn't try to negotiate more from the seller if I needed to, but now you have to put the highest amount. Do you know that? Okay, so now I have to explain that to them. So if you're doing that, you have to tell them your value. So I just closed, since there's just two of you, I will show you.
Yeah, they've covered that at Great Hikes and the Tuesday meeting.
What?
The Tuesday meetings, they've covered that at Great Hikes.
Okay,
I actually think
maybe say that.
about that.
I don't know. Okay, this one, I just closed this. We closed yesterday. So I'm going to tell you the story because we're talking about value. Do we need sound? It was windy. I had to put rocks up. Okay, it's not about the red carpet. It's not about that. But when I met her, she had a lender referred her to me. Actually, lender referred her to my son. My son's not doing the business anymore right now for a bit. He just bought a landscape company. He plans to come back, but we'll see. So anyway, so then he sent him to me. So she did not know me. Okay, I had to meet her at a hotel because they were living out of a hotel. They had just moved from South Carolina. He's in the military. They got relocated. She knows no one, and she has been calling realtor after realtor after realtor, and they would talk to her and they would send the agreement on the phone, like sign 3%, sign this, sign this, sign this. So she calls me. I said, okay, let's meet. And she goes, is it true you have to sign before you go see a house? I said, yes, it is true. Let's meet. Where can I meet? She's like, well, we're staying at this hotel. So we went to the hotel and I sat down with her and I explained all of the stuff, the pros, the cons, the good, the bad. We sat there, we had a 45-minute conversation. By the time we were done, they signed with me. Now, I did not push her into that, and I had to explain my value, okay? You just send the stuff, and while I'm on the phone, agent after agent after agent has been calling her because they're living in a hotel and they want to get into a house, okay? So I got this text in June. Need a drink. This is water with fruit. The Coke Zero comes later. Okay. While we are in June, I got this text. Hey, Jennifer, we are seriously thinking about listing our cabin shortly. A real estate agent that works there told us it would go quickly for around 1.5 million. We were wondering if A, you would take a listing up in Wasatch County, and B, if you would be willing to negotiate down the commission to help us know how to get the buying agent to cut their portion. Or do we wait until the settlement, oops, where'd I go? Or do we wait until the real estate settlement goes through the summer when the buyer's agent may be more negotiable since the buyer would be responsible for paying them? We know what we need and are willing to do to prepare for the sale. We've started the process and have kept it in good condition. Okay, how do you answer that? This will be fun because you've never done one yet. How do you answer that?
This for Gavin.
Yep.
Reduce your commission. And also possibly, should she wait until after the settlement so that there is maybe more leverage?
So she doesn't have to pay the buyer's agent.
Right.
Okay. And how do I get the buyer's agent to cut their commission?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So it said, will you be able to negotiate down the commission? And how do we get the buying agent to cut their portion? Okay, how do you answer that?
I would, well, depending on what your situation is, you can confirm or say, no, I'm not going to come. But this is why, because this is what I can bring to the table for you to
Right.
help you list it faster.
You need to know what your value is,
Sorry.
correct? Okay, so we're going to answer that later. So here we are partway in, and we haven't even done this second slide. Okay,
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
When you first started doing real estate, how did you define how did you know what your value?
we're gonna get there. That's the whole point of this.
Hello.
Hi. Good, how are you? Okay, there's pages I crossed out. Okay. What's your name?
Matt.
Matt, nice to meet you. Okay, we're gonna read you a text that we just did. Okay, here, will you read it? It's 2 screens, because when you get to the next one.
Hi, Jennifer, we are thinking seriously about listing our cabin short. A real estate agent that works up here told us I would go quickly for around 1.5 million. We were wondering if A, you would take the listing up in Wasatch County, and B, if you would be willing to negotiate down the commission to help us know how to get the buying agent to cut their portion. Or do we wait until the real estate settlement goes through this summer when the buyer's agent may be more negotiable since the buyer would be responsible for paying them? We know what we need and we are willing to do to prepare for the sale. Have started the process and have kept it in good condition.
So that last part says they don't need me to help them get the house ready. They don't need me to do much. They just basically need on the MLS. And I'll tell you how that ends up at the end. So we're going to try to figure out how to answer that question. I'm sorry, what was your name again? Matt. Okay, Matt, how new are you?
Been in real estate for 3 years.
Okay.
But brand new to sales. Or
Well,
not sales, but real estate.
I have no idea on commercials, so welcome to the club. Okay. Okay, so brand new to sales. Have you done any deals yet? Real estate, I mean, retail, I mean, whatever we are, residential. Okay, land deals, similar. Okay, all right. So we're going to talk about your value in a unique and memorable and persuasive statement. Expresses the true value of working with you. Address the specific and special needs of the buyer and sellers in your market. State what you will do for your client to earn your commission and hold you accountable to higher standards. Okay, so right there, she's saying, we don't need you for this. We don't need you for this. We don't need you for this. And we don't need you for this. So cut everything. Help us cut everyone. Here we go. Okay. All right. Do you have stuff to write down? You asked me, how do you do your value if you've never done a deal? Is that what you asked? Okay. All right. So we're gonna talk about that today. So obviously, I've done over, I think, 380, maybe 390, I don't know, K deals. So I've got a lot of knowledge through that process. But when I was in classes, I was doing deals and I was learning as you're going, which is okay, as long as you double check everything with someone else so you don't get in trouble. Okay. Okay, know what your skills are. So what kinds of things would you do to earn your commission? Actually, we're going to move this to a different slide. I want to get to, yeah? Yeah.
So as a new agent, I think the biggest asset I have is here, Keller Williams.
Okay.
The people that I have with extensive knowledge, and that would definitely be something that I would put on the table.
Okay, can you write these down while we're talking? Because at the end, I'm going to have you do some traits and you're going to create your statement. Okay, so yeah, Keller Williams, you can use that, use the people that you're in training with. You're going to use your skills. We all come with different skills. Okay, so it says top agents can easily explain what services they will provide to anyone who hires them. That means I'm not a top agent because I actually can't easily explain it. Okay, but that's because there's so much to explain. So I'm not very good at one single statement. So if like you were to say, what's your value statement? I have it somewhere in my paperwork, like in my booklets, but I don't really know it. When I talk to people, I'm usually trying to figure out what their needs are. Because if I tell her, oh, I'm really good at staging, so your house looks amazing, that's not a value to her. So this is true in a lot of ways, but it's also a little bit different because I don't just go blah, 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 blah. So you weren't here, but last year at Family Reunion, you know what Family Reunion is? Okay, once a year, Keller Williams Worldwide comes together. They have a conference. Tony Robbins, does anyone know who Tony Robbins is? Was the guest speaker. Tony Robbins grabbed a guy out of the audience and he asked him what he does. Okay, so who's okay to be like reprimanded? Okay, all right, Bill.
I'm used.
Okay. I want you to tell me what you do, what value you bring to me as a buyer. We'll pretend I'm a buyer.
Buyer, okay.
Yeah, why should I pay you a commission? If the seller doesn't pay it, why should I pay you?
So with me, Joe is very hands-on. Me and my team, we have a lot of experience between us, and we rely heavily on each other. We help with the advertising and preparation of the home. We will give you the exposure that you need throughout the area and find the right buyer for the right price.
Okay, now I want you, this is what Tony Robbins did. So we had this guy come up and he gave him a statement, and there's nothing wrong with that statement. That's a great statement. But now I want you to dig deeper. Now I'm your mom and I'm about to go buy a house. Now what do you tell me? Why should I use you instead of
I'm your son.
I know. Okay.
Somebody else.
Is that okay?
So if you were my mom,
Yeah, if you were my mom, why do I use you?
because I'm going to give you better care and attention than anybody else. I mean, I have your best interest at heart.
There you go. There you go. That's what Tony Robbins did. I have your back. I care more about what you're doing than anybody else. So if you're talking to your family member and you're trying to help them understand, like, look, I'm going to help you understand. I'm going to educate you through the process. I'm going to show you the pros, the cons, and I'm going to help you make the best decision for you. That's my number one goal. I will work my butt off for you. I will do this for you. When you go into the heart of why you're trying to help them, they will respond to you. That's what happened with Tina. She had no idea who I was. No idea. She had forms and paperwork and people trying to just get her business. And I showed her that I cared. And then I listened to her and I listened to what they wanted. And I said, you know what? I know you want Provo because that's where you've been and that's where you work, but let me show you something that sounds more like you. And when I took them to the house, they got more house, less money in an area they actually fell in love with. So when you're doing your value statement, you dig that in to why you're doing what you're doing, why they should rely on you, and how you're going to help them. Okay? That's what Tony Robbins did. I've never done it with anyone, so that was super awesome. Thanks. And he did the same thing. The guy's statement, when he asked him if it was a family member, was 100 times better than his canned statement. And that's probably why I never use my canned statement, but we're going to make one because you need that to use for your basis. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, now. Okay, especially now, you need to tell them why, understand your value and your expertise. Now, your expertise might not be so great right now, but you can rely on the stuff from KW, your coaching, the information, the technology, which we'll get into. Protect your commission. How does this protect your commission? How does understanding your value protect your commission?
If you're valuable to them, they will ask you to cut commission.
Okay. By the way, on that cabin, I didn't cut my commission. Neither did the buying agent. I mean, we did what I do when I don't stage, but okay, and it sold. Okay, build strong and trusting relationship. If I say, hey, I'm great at marketing, I'm gonna show you all the houses on the internet, does that show me any value? No. Okay, build strong and trusting. Does his second answer give you more trust than his first answer? Okay. All right, here are some value proposition examples. So read through these and then tell me which ones you like and why. You want to read them out loud or do you just want to read them together? Like, I mean, in your head. Do you have a preference? Okay, read them in your head. I don't know if I'm standing. I don't know what the camera's. Okay. Which ones do you like? Okay, why do you like Grammarly? Great writing, simplified, composed, bold, clear, mistake-free writing with Grammarly's AI-powered writing assistant. What do you like about it? Okay. Okay. All right. Trey, what do you like?
About Grammarly or which one I like?
No, which one you like?
I like State Farm. It's so simple. And, you know, everyone thinks life is hard, right? And so if a company comes out and says, hey, let's make it go easier, you know, that goes to everybody, right?
I like that.
Everyone-
Okay. All right, Matt.
Whoever in the office actually schedules that product.
Okay.
And we all like.
Well, I've skipped a lot. I have to go back. Wait, where is that one? Okay. Oh, there we are. Okay. All right. Anything else?
My second, probably.
I don't like Slack.
You don't like Slack? Yeah, it doesn't really tell you what it's doing, right?
Don't like Walmart.
Because you don't like Walmart. Okay. Airbnb exists to create a world where anyone can belong anywhere, providing healthy travel that is local, authentic, diverse, inclusive, and sustainable. Okay. All right. So those are some value propositions. All right. Okay. Market, fiduciary, market expert. All right. Here's some stuff you can use. Are you ready? You can use KW and the Market Center. I have access to the collective knowledge and experience of nearly 200,000 agents worldwide. What else does KW bring value to you? Before I move on to what else? You've been here what, one day? Okay. How long have you been here? Okay. Okay, KW, the Market Center, I have access to that. How do you have access to that? What if I said, well, how? What's your answer?
We have friends online, we have trained person, I have an office that I can work with. And,
Okay, let's not do trainings. Let's change that word. Just
technical support.
we have meetings, we have conferences. Okay, you don't have to say you're always in training. Staying up on current issues. Okay. Fiduciary, I can point you to reputable resources to determine the best school district for your kids. Okay, I'm not sure why they put this one in, but I want you to take this one and say, what's your fiduciary? Remember, what does fiduciary mean? Okay. So you realize you can't tell them what a good school district is, right? You can't do that because then you're steering, but you can get them to the reputable resources. So I can connect you. Let's take out school district. Now, what is your value on the fiduciary side?
The fiduciary as, if I'm your fiduciary, then that means that I am your needs of essentially of mine.
Okay.
The people we're working with.
Not essentially, 100% above yours. Do you know that I have a seller that the appraisal came in low and I thought it was stupid and I told him not to sell? I had put in $3,000 of staging, $1,000 in photos. I paid an admin, I had marketing, I had ads. I told him not to sell. Let's wait because you're not quite ready to buy anyway. Don't sell it. Is that a fiduciary?
Mm-hmm.
Is my client going to respect me better for that? They still did. They really wanted out of it, but we couldn't get the appraisal. The gap was too high and I didn't think it was right because there was a stupid old lady one that made everything low. Okay, so your fiduciary, you have to show that you, even if you're starving to death, they need to know that they're your number one priority. Okay, so think of a few ways to do that. Market expert, I can help you price your home to sell because I'm very tuned into the market of the moment. Okay, these are just one little sentence example. Okay, you're brand new. How are you a market expert? How can you move that so you're a market expert?
Well, also purchased homes, sold homes.
Okay,
I have. I have.
you can use training, but you don't want to come across as brand new. Okay, so that's why I'm taking out training.
So I have
I take class, I still take classes, like we're always taking classes. You can say that. Realtors have to take classes every single year. So just as long as you're not like, I'm trained in this and the training, you can use it. But okay, what else? I'm in tune with the market. You've never done a deal. How can you be in tune with the market? What can you go do? What can you go do today? Go look at houses. What else? Okay. They took your best answers. Okay.
I mean, reference past experience, also, I mean, I guess you could say you've been monitoring. I own rental properties, so I could say I've been monitoring
Okay.
the rental prices and the or rental rates as well as the prices on rental homes
Okay.
in Utah County.
Perfect. Okay. So you see what he did there? He took a past experience and he turned it into that. And you can both do that too. We can all do that. So even if you haven't like sold 100,000 deals, because I haven't sold 100,000 deals, you can still be in tune with the market. Even if you're not, you can watch what's happening in the areas that you want to work. You can watch what's coming active. You can set yourself up on alerts. You can check the solds. You can check the ratios. You can learn how to do stats. I stink at stats. Becca's really good at stats. Okay. So you can do that. Any questions on that? Okay. Oh, what did you learn today? Okay. They learned nothing. No, go ahead.
That kind of the Tony Robbins type statement. I kind of go into. I think you can go to pretty much anybody with this. Like, I think that if you were to go to even a stranger at a certain point, if you've been connecting with them over 2 weeks, maybe not harassing them, but sending information about the market, property, go to them and say, I have it back like nobody else. So I think that's a valuable thing to say.
And you need to have their back like nobody else. But see, you can bring that across like I did with, were you here when we did the Tina reel? Okay, so the one that just closed, I met her at the hotel. We talked about, you were here for that part, right? So at the end of that meeting, she trusted me. She knew that I was in there for her. So you can do that value based on that. Okay, any other takeaways?
Showed me how to find strength.
Ooh, how did I do that?
I'm new to the market, but where are my strengths? So yes, that might be a weakness, but overall, I can find strengths there. I just have to look.
Correct. And actually, we're going to do that. I can't remember where it is in here. We're going to be writing down your strengths, and then we're going to turn them into real estate. So start thinking about what those are. Okay. Oh, wrong button. Okay. All right. This is going to tell you what matters to buyers and sellers. Okay. I have a different outlook on this. Okay. For buyers, their goal is to find just the right home at the best price in the right time with the least number of problems. Anyone have any problems with that? Okay. For sellers, their goal is to net the most amount of money in the shortest amount of time with the least number of problems. So that text from Debbie, what was her goal on that one? Debbie's the cabin. Yep. Their goal is to net the most amount of money. Why did she want to cut my commissions? Get more money. Of course, that's what they want, right? Why does she not want to pay the buyer's agent? Get more money. Okay, least amount of number of problems. You cut all of those and you will have the most amount of problems. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, top 10 service areas, the buyer value proposition. I keep forgetting to turn my page. Okay. Actually, I'm gonna go back. No, I'm not. Okay, so for here, the top 10 service areas of the buyer value proposition. Number 1, needs analysis. This is the process that they need. Hi, this is the process. Pre-qualification or pre-approval, neighborhood information, home search, make an offer, negotiating to buy, vendor coordination, pre-close preparation, closing, and post-closing. Those are the steps that you need to know on the buyer side, okay? And then on the seller side, needs analysis, pricing strategy, property preparation, marketing strategy, receive an offer, negotiating to sell, pre-close prep, closing, and post-closing. Okay, those are steps. Not a lot of emotion in that one, right? So now I'm gonna go back. Okay, these are their goals. Can you go deeper on this one? Go deeper on what the buyer's needs are. Because these are very basic. I just want to find the right home. And you could say, I'll help you find the right home. And they'll say, I'm not paying you $15,000 for that. I can find it on the internet. I want you to go deeper.
Right home for them.
Okay. What is the right home for them? Okay, what else? Go deeper. At the best price. What does that mean? Does that mean they want a good deal? Is that what that's saying? Did you know that sometimes the buyer's best need is to overpay to get the actual house they want? And I need to know when they have to do that and when they don't have to do that. So it's not always at the best price. Everyone would love it at the best price. But in the end, I have a buyer under contract. They're sitting there 97 days on the market and they go to make their offer. And all of a sudden 3 offers are in there, which really stinks. And sometimes you think they're lying, but this time they weren't lying. Okay. There really were 3 offers on there. And they really didn't want to pay 1.9. They really thought, and all the comps thought, it should be less. Okay. So they wrote it for 1.86. Guess what? They lost their dream house. And in my head, I was like, I should tell them they're not going to get it at 1.9. They're not going to get it at 1.86. I don't think they're going to get it at 1.86. And I did, kind of. And then I thought, oh, I should be stronger and tell them. I should be stronger, but then I don't want to push them, right? But I knew they weren't going to get it at 1.86. But they said, we do not want to pay anything over 1.86. So we sent their offer in. Guess what? That non-refundable earnest money offer that they took, canceled. We got it for 1.86. Lucky day, lucky day. But sometimes it's not about the best price. Sometimes it's teaching your client the pros and cons and knowing the market and knowing what's happening and knowing what happens with multiple offers so that you can guide them to what? Make the best decision for them. So they may say this and I will tell them, my real job is not to find you houses. My real job is not to help you find the best price. My real job is to know what's happening in the market and educate you on the process and help you make the best and right decision for you. And all the way through, and that could change from house to house. So I've always got to be ready for that. That's my job, okay? Same side on the seller. Their goal is to make the most amount of money, so they don't want to pay me. Well, if you don't want to pay me, that's fine. You can go do a FSBO all you want. But these are the things that I can bring to the table, and I will tell you a story. So I love to tell stories. And if you don't have your own story, you can use someone else's story. So I'm going to tell you this story on a sell. Okay, are you ready? And this is actually my son's listing, but we worked together. So I'm going to take some credit here. He got a listing in Woodland Hills. They had owned it for 2 years. They bought it before the rates went up. So when things were moving, and they had to sell 2 years later after the rates went up. So what happened to prices a little bit in that time? They flattened, okay? So they shouldn't be able to really sell it to make any money. And my son sent it to me, and I looked at those photos of this house. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. It was from the 70s. It had an amazing lot, I think. Couldn't really tell from the photos of the old MLS. It had orange carpet in the loft upstairs. It had grandpa furniture. Okay, I'm a grandma, but you don't need to look like a grandma all the time. So like it had grandpa furniture, like the old chair, you know, the brown one, like stuff like that, okay? So it did not look cute. So then when I went to the house, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is in Woodland Hills. It looks over the whole valley. There wasn't one picture that showed that, nothing. So we took that, we staged it. So instead of looking like old and grandpa, it looked chic and cool. And we focused on the views and we had videos and all of that. They sold it and made $102,000. Okay, so shortest amount of time still on that one, least amount of problems. Okay, now we had multiple offers. So we had some negotiation room when it came time to repairs. The buyers asked for $30,000 in repairs. Cameron called all of the other offers to see if they were still on the table. They all said yes. We sent them all the inspection report. They all said yes. They got to say no to her $30,000 request. That makes sense? My job is to take all of those pieces and negotiate them on your behalf, play them on your behalf, and give you all of those pieces so you know what you want to do. Does that make sense? So I would go deeper on that and think about that. Okay. Okay, this is what they say buyers want. Somebody tell me my time frame if I'm going over, because I don't even know. They want you to find the right home, but really, do they want you to find it? Back in the day, it used to be in a newspaper or a magazine. They can find it, right? So sometimes if you tell them this is your value, what do they come and tell you when they find the home? They say, I found the home, so do I get a discount? Okay, I don't tell them this is my value. I can set them up so they get first looks, but this is not my value, even though this is what 52% say, okay? Help buyer negotiate the terms of the sale. Only 13 say that, but don't they, a lot of them really want that? And then help with negotiations and other, which was whatever. Okay, why do you think these are so low? This is like the most important part of the whole contract. Why are they so low? Because they don't know. They've never done it. They think your job is this. This is a survey that says what they want, but it also shows us they don't know. So now every agent can do this. So you're all the same. Not every agent can do this. Not every agent is going to work their tail off to make sure they're protected or to make sure or to find out what's happening on that other one. I got so much information on that 1.86. I could tell her, he gave me like all the offer information, except he told them they were there, but they decided they didn't believe him. They didn't want to do it. They just didn't want to pay. After they lost it, they decided it would have been worth it. But I did my job, right? Okay. Home inspector, you have a really good thing for negotiating the terms because your home inspectors aren't really licensed contractors. Okay. I just did one. He's like, I'm like, hey, how's the roof? He's like, it's got a good 5 years. I'm like, no, it doesn't. So I had to get my roofer out there. Guess how many years it has? 1 to 2. Yep, I already knew that. I'm not even an inspector. He also thought it didn't have a outlet by the dryer. And I'm like, well, isn't that a gas line? No, that's water. Are you sure? He turns it on. It's gas. Okay, so there you go. You've got some extra stuff in there. Okay, so that's why they don't know. They don't know that. So when you're doing your value, you've got to tell them how important this part is. Questions? Oh, factors when choosing an agent. Okay, agents want 20% want you to be trustworthy. I guess the other 80% doesn't care if you're a liar, but I don't know if I agree with that. Okay, it's not really the case. That's just what they said. Okay, they only got to pick one. 44% want, is other, and 19 experience, and 17 is reputation. Do you want to see what the other ones are? I might not be able to find it. Well, look at how far I've skipped. Oh, I was going to tell you, I had a note. Okay, on this one, I want you, how many of your friends know you're in real estate? Like you've told all your friends. You haven't told your friends yet? Okay, first of all, let's go tell your friends, and here's how you're going to tell them. You're going to say, look, got my license. I want to take a survey of what's important to you on the buyer side and the seller side. Go do that. Find out what your friends say. Number one, it will let them know without you saying, hey, I'm an agent, use me. And you'll get some information on what your circle of influence is looking for. Okay, so there's a suggestion for you. Okay, those other categories, they said agent is friendly or a family member, agent is knowledgeable of the neighborhood, agent has a caring personality, good listener, agent is timely with responses. Okay, it's only 6%, but they all want that. Agent seems 100% accessible because of use of technology, active in their local community, agent's association with a particular firm, professional designations held by an agent. I have 0 designations. Do you know what those are? You can take extra classes and you get extra initials after your stuff. I've taken the classes. I didn't pay for the designation because honestly, that was 1% of the 44%. And they don't even know what those mean. Okay, most of them. All right, but probably referrals would. Maybe I'd have more referrals from other agents. Hey, any questions? Okay, what sellers want? Help price your home competitively. Okay, that is true. And that is the hardest part, especially right now, because I'm going to give you a little clue right now. Okay, appraisers will come in different. You can have, I had a condo, appraisal came in different. That townhouse that I told them not to sell, that one came in like lower. We had 3 offers, 15,000 higher, and the appraisal came in 15,000 lower. Okay, so appraisals from the mouth of an appraiser, appraisals are a crapshoot. So make sure your buyers and sellers have that expectation that those are a personal opinion based on whichever comps they decide to use. Okay, but it's the best the lenders can do. Okay, but pricing it competitively. Don't ever say that this house will sell for this much, because you don't know who that buyer is. You may get a buyer who loves it and their grandma lives next door and they're going to pay more than someone else. And you might have got lucky. Or you might have this that maybe or opposite. Okay, so we always tell them this is kind of a ballpark. And once we hit the market, we're going to run the stats. And if we're this, we'll have to do this. And if we don't do this, we'll do this. So you have to be able to do that. Pricing it is tricky. And I always try to go get 1 or more people to do the same thing, because depending on which comps we use, we're just like the appraiser. Okay. I'll have my son or my admin, or you could have people in the office, hey, run a quick comp on it. And I'll be like, hey, all 3 of us came in around this price. This looks like it would be good. Or if I'm really confident in one, I don't have to do that. But if I've got a tricky one, I'll let them know, this is not rocket science. This is so that you don't get in trouble with that later on. Okay. Help market the home. How do you do that? Okay. You've not listed a home. You've listed a home. You've not listed a home before. So how do you even market? Go talk to someone that has, get a marketing plan that you've got ready. Okay. Help sell it within a specific time frame. How many of their sellers want to sit on the market over and over and day in and day out, right? So if they decide to go high, you've got to let them know you're going to sit and you're probably going to sell actually lower than if we do this price. And then help them find a way to fix up their home. That one is my main thing that I do, whether it's fix up or stage it. I go in and I'll say, the market will tell us this. Here are the things that we can do. We can do staging. We can do this. We can do this to get your home where people will fall in love with it. That's the part that you're in control of and we're in control of. We're not in control of the market. So if we can get yours in the best position right now, you'll sell for more and you'll have more offers and you'll have more negotiating power, stuff like that. Okay. Questions? I'm not following my notes, so.
Back to what you were saying about the value of the home, that you never know, it's just based off the buyer. So with my listing, I went under contract within just a few days. And we were ecstatic, and they had priced it a little bit above the CMAs. They chose to go outside of that, you know,
Mhm.
area of where we thought it would be safe and within, you know, what the market was telling us. But anyway, what I'm saying is after we went under contract, the buyer, they were a first time home buyer, and they came and they like walked the neighborhood and knocked on doors and started asking people what the demographic was in the neighborhood. And because they were older families, they said, we don't want the home anymore. So it wasn't that the whole home, the home was beautiful, everything was beautiful. But because of the demographic, the home was no longer like valuable to them, because they wanted, you know, they had come from a townhome unit where there's little kids running everywhere. And this was a home with like people my age with like older kids, and they all of a sudden backed out, and it went back on the market. Of course, it went back under contract a few days later, but that first was like, no, this home is no longer valuable to us anymore.
Yep.
And
So,
that was a good lesson for me.
because you don't know what's valuable to that buyer. And you could have a buyer. So I actually sold land like 35,000 over CMAs, and they paid over comps because their family member lived right next door to that lot. Yep, it's a baseball card. And my sellers knew that we were going to, so when the appraisal came in low, they already were expecting to have an issue. So it wasn't on me, but you need to be able to prep them for that. There's actually one of those Facebook groups that are crazy, be careful on them. But like a real estate Facebook group, their seller chewed their agent out because the buyers came back during repairs and asked for concessions. And they got mad at their agent. So it's probably somewhere in these slides later, but one thing you need to know is you need to prep your buyers and sellers. There are at least 3 times you might negotiate an offer. When you make the offer, during due diligence, and possibly during the appraisal. So your seller's not like, woohoo, we got all this money. And then they come back and like, hey, it needs a new roof. It needs a new HVAC. It needs this. It needs a sewer line. Like, you didn't prep them for that. They're going to be mad at you. Because what's your job? Your job is to be honest and trustworthy and to make sure they know and understand the process. Okay? Any questions? I have no idea what's coming next. Did I just do this? Okay. Okay, technology. We have technology. I'm not going to go into that because I don't use it. So, but other people are better. I mean, I do, but not all of it. Okay? We have technology. If you're good at it, use that to your value. Okay, any takeaways?
The amount of times you may negotiate as a second sale, that's a good comment, I think.
Mhm.
Getting up front and presenting what's gonna happen to your client. It's good. Surprises make people small part.
Yep. So on that thing, it said the least amount of problems. Did it say no problems? No, you can't control if there's no problems, but you can control their expectation and how you're going to walk them through those problems. Okay, anything else? Nothing? Trey, did you learn anything? All right, what? I have to have you talking. I can't do the whole thing.
Just what you're saying about, you know, there doesn't have to be any, like, there doesn't have to be no problems, just very few. And so you just have to set the expectations right. So like I'm trying to, anyways, I'm trying to list the property right now, but the guy I'm working with, he's very, like, he's hard to work with.
Okay.
It's my wife's grandpa. Anyways, he's very particular with what he does. He doesn't like any problems. And so it's hard to talk to him about anything because, you know, I can't guarantee there's gonna be no problems. I can't guarantee he's gonna get a certain price. I can't guarantee anything, right? And it's a property that has really, there's no properties in the area you can compare it to. It's kind of a property that they've held on to forever, and there's $1 million homes all around it. You can't compare it to anything.
No, you're right.
And so you know, how do I tell him that his price is too high, too low?
Get an appraisal.
Yeah.
Get an
that's-
appraisal on that one.
But they wanna, that's the issue, they don't wanna pay anybody, like, they don't even want me to do it for them because they don't wanna pay. And they're listing the property for $4 million. And so. It's
What's
just-
the highest and best use on that property? Can you divide it? Okay,
it's 2
check,
acres.
check into that. Because then if it does, it might have more value. But we can talk about that later. Okay. Woohoo. Oh, we get to, it's your turn. Okay. All right. Right now, I want you to write down, doesn't have to be real estate specific. Write down your knowledge, your attitude, your skills and beliefs. Okay. Write down the qualities you have. We're going to use those to create your value proposition. Transform the value you provide and the value of KW in your market center into benefits for your clients. So right now, go. Write all that. Start. What's it called? Just write stuff. What's that called when you
Yeah.
do it like you're writing?
Brain dump.
Brainstorm. Yeah, whatever. Brain dump.
It's
I-
one of those words.
I like brain dump. Okay, brain dump all of your qualities. What can you bring to the table? What is your past experience that can help you be good? You don't have the same experience as I do. You're going to be better at some things than this and I am. You know, like Becca is really good at stats. I'm not really good at stats. Okay? Becca I have a very nurturing, caring, step-by-step understanding process that I think people like. Okay, so I bring some of that. What's your background? What's your skills? Whether they relate to real estate or not, write them down. And I'm gonna go with that. And then after you get that part done, write down, we're gonna go through skills of KW. That can help. Don't build your statement yet. Just do the 1 and 2, or at least 1. Are you still on 1? You just finished 1? Okay. Let's just finish 1 and then let's go over what those are. You need more time? Okay. Okay, like 1 more minute. Okay. All right, now that we have your skills, can you look at your skills and can you turn that in how that helps you in real estate? So let's brainstorm. What'd you call it? Can I borrow this? Okay. All right, what you got? Yep, I want to hear them. Because then we can maybe help each other on how that relates. Okay.
skills or knowledge or whatever, because I built my first knowledge.
Okay. At 23. Okay, what else?
Well, with my past experience of Dallas knowledge, homes, how they operate.
Okay.
Cycle lowering clients.
Mm. Yeah, because my clients are in Texas. They don't have basements. So they got the radon report, 4.7. They called me panicked. Oh, it's so high. And I'm like, she's like, we shouldn't even be buying this house. I'm like, okay, whoa, step back. Yeah, so they're okay. 4.7 isn't that high. Yeah. Have you really? Okay, I've not seen them. So you have to be able to lower the temperature. I like that. Okay, what else? Spit them out. Go. Educational credentials, what? Whoa. Okay, we'll just write that. I have bad handwriting, by the way, especially on a board.
Experience consulting for 200+ agents, developers, and city planners in Utah and Arizona.
Okay.
So just consulting experience for real estate professionals.
Okay. Okay, Sarah, give me another one. Give me all of them. Actually, I'm not going to write anymore. Okay.
Child development, now that it's not business related, or, real estate, it's business.
Okay.
Exactly. I'm doing the same thing and I had the same expectations too, because back then, when I started a business, didn't make a ton of money that first year and then the next year and the next year. So I still have that same mindset that, my first year in real estate, I'm not gonna make a ton of money. And I just know that it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of training and a lot of education.
Okay, so wait, how does that relate to your client now?
Go to my
No, I'm not saying you did it wrong. Now, this is what I want you to do because in a minute, I'm gonna have you turn it and go do it. So how does that relate to your client? You built a business, you didn't make a lot of money the first year. Well, how does that relate to your client?
How does it relate to them? Yeah, I know.
Thank
how
you.
to- okay.
But no, this is what we're doing. Okay. I'm not expecting you to have them all right. You're taking what you've done and you're going to make it because your client doesn't care if you built a business. I don't care. What does that have to do with me? This is about me. I'm the one paying you, or I might have to pay you if the seller isn't offering it. So what does that have to do with me? Okay, so now take your list and change it. Okay, so what? You develop land planning. I don't care. I'm buying an existing house. Excuse me. So take those and now work in groups. Let's put you, we can either all do all four or just 2 and 2. I want you to come up with ideas on how to help each other change that to real estate related for your client. How does that benefit your client? Do you want 2 and 2 or 4 and 4? Okay. All right, 2 and 2.
Go ahead.
Okay.
I think that
It's good. A lot better than mine too. So, for the first time agent, I can focus on one deal at a time, right? You're my number one priority. I'm not gonna do anything else except for our deal at once, right? And I have a team working behind me that's gonna help me work on your deal, and it's all gonna be focused on her. I'm good with numbers and percentages. I can look at different numbers of what we can value your home at, how much you're gonna get, how much we're gonna make you and stuff like that.
I put that
Um,
in here. I said,
I'm good at being straightforward with people. You know, I'm not gonna
you know
sugarcoat
what I mean?
things.
I'm not.
I'm just gonna tell you how it is. If that's good or bad, I don't really know. I've built custom homes before up in Taft Valley, so I can tell when something was built with people I cared about how it was gonna
Like
look,
in the past,
right?
I ran.
Finish work, stuff like that. You can tell when someone actually cared to put time in and make it look perfect versus
People aren't on.
if you're just building a spec home. There's a lot of issues with those.
Um.
And then I don't mind asking for, obviously I probably won't tell somebody this, but I don't mind asking for advice from people above me. You know, I'm not gonna know everything and no one knows everything. People know more than me.
Okay, let me stop you there.
Yes.
That's good. Let me tell you one thing. In real estate, you will never know it all. Okay. And because things will come up in every transaction that you don't know. So you actually have a good point there. I don't mind getting out. So sometimes you could say like, instead of like, I don't know everything, like you were saying, but focus on the fact that every transaction in real estate is different. So when I need, let's see, what could we use that? When I need extra expertise or whatever, so it doesn't sound like I don't know it, but when it calls for like a extra, what's a word for this? Like extra support, extra input. I have all of these people that can help with this, so you're on the right track with that one. Just keep going.
I was doing home inspections in Chicago, there's some older homes. And there's this little wall plate, hole in it, in some of these older homes above the kitchen sink. And my client asked me, what is that? And I didn't know. I'm not gonna BS about it. And I was like, you know what? I don't know, but I'm gonna find out for you. I went home, called some other inspectors who've been around a while. And they knew what it was. It was an outlet for a clock. Because back in the 40s and 50s, everybody put a clock in their kitchen, and that's what and I was like, and when I went back to my client, I told them, they were like, oh, and it made me feel like not like I was stupid or I didn't know what I was talking about or I shouldn't be in the line of work that I'm in because I didn't know. It made me feel like they trusted me more because I was honest with them, and I knew my limitations. And I wasn't lying.
Yeah.
So.
And that's what I'm saying. You don't have to say it's because you're new. You just can say in real estate, it's always changing and there's always new stuff. So anytime we get to a point where we need some extra input, I'm willing to go and get that. Okay, keep going. Oh. Are you guys done? Okay, now on your list, we're going to add what being with KW adds to that and then you're going to write your value proposition. Okay, you're going to write your Airbnb slogan, your Walmart slogan, your whatever. Okay, so now what are some of the things that KW can add to your value proposition? Okay, write them down. Yeah, write them down. I mean, you can say them because this is all for everyone. These are going to be the same. So what do you have?
This is
What?
KW or me?
Okay, so in your value proposition, you have your skills to bring to the table and you have stuff from KW. What from KW will you might want to use in your value proposition? So what do you gain? You've said it, you have a network of people, you have coaching and mentoring, you have technology, you have access to whatever. What do you know about? What do you have? You don't have to use them all in your thing. Let's just brainstorm. Brain dump. Technology. Education, continued education. A TC. But they don't care about the TC. They expect you to get your paperwork done. Yep. They expect you to do the contract. They just don't know how tricky that is. Okay. They sell a lot. They have a market share. If you're in luxury, you hit all their luxury websites. Bless you. And you probably don't need too many of them because really it's going to be about you. Okay, now you're ready to build your thing. This is the fun part. I want you to build it and then I'm going to ask you to redo it. So build it. Ready?
This is where I would turn to ChatGPT.
I don't care.
Based off all this.
Do it. I don't care. I don't care who writes it. I want you to have the ability when you're talking to a client and they say, why should I hire you over Clay Winder or over Angie Fisher or over anyone else? What are you going to say to them? When they call and say, will you do this at a discount? Will you do this? Can you cut this? Can you cut this? What are you going to say? I never say yes. I just tell them what I do. And then I say, okay, for this price, I do this. And then for this price, I do this. I only have a 2 menu option because my staging costs me a boatload of money. So if I don't do it, they can keep it. Just in case you missed some of your attributes, I didn't read this, so I'm going to read it while you're doing it. What knowledge do I bring to this job? What attitudes am I bringing to it? What skills do I offer? And what beliefs do I have? Like equity, integrity, beliefs, or you're a great negotiator, problem solver, your ability to help others learn and use tech. If anyone can help me use tech, that would be. And you can't use all of them in your little statement. Maybe you can. Maybe Chat GPT will do it. Do you want those to go back? Okay. You're doing something like that. Yeah, that's what you're writing. Like it's and that's why I said I never read people my statement, right? But I have it in my back pocket that I can then talk about that. So you need to know what skills you have to offer, especially if you're brand new. You've got things to offer, like you said. I wouldn't say I only have one deal. I would say I don't take on more deals than I can handle. So you are number one priority. So word what you're doing and word it so it benefits the person that you're talking to. Because there's some agents, you may not have a team. So I don't have a team. I have like, I don't know, we won't even talk about that right now, but like, I don't have a team. So you have me the whole way through. Like I have an admin that helps with my paperwork, but I'm the one you get to talk to. You don't get transferred off from person to person on the team. If you have a team, then we have a team so that you have a person that's focused on exactly which step you're on, like whatever you can change that and make that good no matter what.
When you would put in like this.
Mhm.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
like, the very first page. Yeah,
Your
like,
bio, your value statement that's in there.
And how long or short would you write? Let's see.
Gonna I can't remember when you came in, but there was one for Airbnb that was much longer. If I go back to all of those, I'll lose my space here, but actually maybe I can. Do you want to see those? Does everyone want to see those? Remind me I'm on 37. Okay, those are value statements from real professional companies. Will you hand me that paper back? Thank you. So like I have one, I don't remember what it is, but I have one in my thing, but it changes. So, and I usually have it there so they can read that. But when I'm talking to them, it's not about that. Like I said earlier, like I have it there, but Debbie didn't have a need for staging. She did, but she didn't think she did. So bringing up the staging wasn't a big deal, but I still went up there and I told her everything she could do to make it better. And she did them. So it's still, you know, it was her, but you have to go with what they're wanting. So 44% want some sort of thing, or their job's to find you the house. And then they find the house. Remember, my job's not to find you the house. And I will tell them that my job is not to find you the house. It's on the internet. My job is to know exactly what is happening and the difference between that house and this house, and help walk you through the process and help you make the best choice. That's my job. My job's to walk you through that. And if they say I don't need to be walked through that, then I don't know. Huh? Yeah.
The role of just being there to help them solve problems, because my clients, it was an emotional roller coaster for her, you know, unpacking or packing a home that they lived in for 20 years and they raised all their kids, and she pulled out her grandma's china and just started to cry, and I just was there with her. And then all of a sudden it just snowballed into all these other emotions she was feeling.
You're there at their hardest time. Is divorce, weddings, and moving. Like you don't get harder than that. And you're also a buffer between maybe the other stuff that goes on. Like I don't know if you saw that post about the guy who didn't read his dang contract. Okay, read your dang contract. Like you may have TCs, but you need to know that contract back and forth. That's your job. And you need to make sure your client knows that. This guy wrote an offer and apparently didn't even tell him what was in it. So when we took the range that was excluded and the fridge that was excluded in the offer that he wrote, he threatened to sue. I didn't even tell my clients he threatened to sue because he wrote the contract. Like, who are you going to sue? Yourself? Like, you wrote it. You can't just have your TC send over a contract without you knowing what's in it and going over it. I will go over those offers with my client for an hour. I'll go over the paperwork the first time. The second time we can just fill in the blanks, right? But they know exactly what's happening. I'll read I don't read it. I just paraphrase every fine tune. And if they decide to sue you, here's who pays. Like, these don't normally happen, but if they do, this is there. You need to know that. They need to know what they're signing. And they need to know what they're getting into. Or sometimes they come back, I don't want to sell. Oh, sorry, you can't do that. They could sue you. Well, you didn't tell me that. I want to cancel on them. You owe them their earnest money and an additional amount equal to it. And their earnest money is $20,000. Or they can sue you to perform. Did you tell them that before they signed? You better tell them that. Don't you dare send a contract, and if you have to read the whole thing with them, read the whole thing with them. Don't send it to them to sign. That's a little out of the class, but not. This guy uploaded the inclusions and exclusions from the MLS and is mad at me because he didn't read it when he loaded it, and he didn't read it when his client signed it, and he put in 7-day possession and he forgot about that too. So it was just a whole thing. My clients didn't even know that I was dealing with all this stuff because I'm a buffer. Fortunately, they did have to find out, but that's a whole nother story.
I was gonna say, how did this play out? What was the?
We're still at it.
You're
So
still at it?
they're well,
So
no,
it's-
no. So he threatened to sue, and I'm like, for what? You wrote the offer. We followed the contract. But then we also have a water leak that they didn't know about until after we closed, but previous to possession. So the letter had come from the city, but because they were moving, they didn't check their mail. So we are responsible for the water line. So she had to go over there. So I did have to tell her, like, actually don't go over there, send the plumber. I did have to tell her, but for 5 days of it, I didn't tell her. She didn't need to worry about that because we were in the right until it got to something. There was nothing for him to stand on. He excluded it. If they're going to sue anyone, they would sue him.
Was this a buyer?
Huh? Well, you were working.
I was trying.
I was the seller.
You're the seller.
So my seller wanted to keep their range. It was a really cool gas range. And I'm like, nobody really excludes their range. And she's like, well, can we do it? And if the buyer doesn't exclude it, we'll leave it. And if they are okay with it, we'll take it. So it was multiple offers and they sent over their offer and it's excluded. So he forgot or he never checked. He sends me a text, hey, they took their range. I'm like, yeah, you excluded it. And I sent him a screenshot. I've been sworn at. I don't swear back. It's fun.
Curricular activity.
Yeah.
Sorry, I lived in Chicago for 20 years. This is just part of the natural. That's what we do.
Well, I didn't say I didn't swear. I said I don't swear back.
I was surprised it took me like 3 months to get flipped off on a freeway right now. I'm like, that's like a daily thing.
Mine are usually under my breath. Okay, don't tell my kids. All right, what do we got? Give me your stuff. That's fine. You're not going to have it done today. You're going to fine tune that. You're going to tweak it. And as you get a little more experience, you're going to tweak it again. But like one time we were in a class and Dean's up there. He's like, Jen's a top agent. What's your value proposition? I'm like, I don't know. So, okay, what do you got? And I don't care if it's dumb. We're gonna tweak them. All right, you ready?
Yeah, I did my own chat GBT because, yeah. Anyways, it says navigating real estate with dedication, integrity, and care, backed with custom home experience, the Keller Williams team, and commitment to helping you make the best choice.
Awesome. Okay, now tell chat GPT to put some emotion in there. See what it comes up with. Okay. Wait, stop. Everyone give him some tips to add to that. Read it again. They didn't know they were going to do that.
Okay, it says navigating real estate with dedication, integrity, and care, backed by custom home experience, the Keller Williams team, and commitment to helping you make the best choice.
I'm gonna have to tip mine in chat GPT. Okay, what can we tweak in that? I mean, you can't take offense. It was chat GPT. GPT.
I don't know.
Brain dump. Okay, what can we, okay, now I'm your mom. Read me your value proposition. No, don't read it. I'm your mom. Tell me okay, I'm your neighbor. I'm your best friend. And I'm going to go list with homie. What are you going to tell me?
Not to do that.
Okay, why?
I don't know.
Use points. I know this is hard. Okay, I couldn't do this either. Use points from your thing. And tell me why I shouldn't list with blah, blah, blah. Oh, tell them why they shouldn't list with the.
Because the dedication and care, the commitment to help you make the best choice.
Okay. Give me more. Trey.
Yes.
I'm going to put my biggest asset with this company because they're cheap. Why should I not do that?
Because they don't care to actually help you through the process. They just care to get your money right away.
How do you know that?
So that's what they do, isn't
Okay. Yeah, it is.
it? I don't know.
Okay. But
Well,
what about you?
Well,
Aren't you going to get like more money? I know I'm making this hard for you. He's only been licensed for 1 day. Okay. But these are the questions you're going to get. But you're going to get like 20 grand.
But we work through you the whole process and we help you with any problems that you have. We don't just hang you out to dry.
But Homie says on their website that they do that. Okay, help him out.
Well, let me ask you, so that's kind of a different approach because I the way I interpreted what you wanted us to do.
No,
was
no, no, I do. I want that. And now I'm putting it into action. This is great. But now I'm going to put you in a real spot.
Okay,
I'm putting you in front of a person.
right, so this is the conversation.
This is the conversation. You're not really going to read your value statement.
Right.
That's going to be in your thing, but you're going to need to project your value statement. So there's nothing wrong with what he's written or Chat GPT wrote.
Yeah.
Okay, it is bringing his points. He has this, he has integrity, he has dedication and whatever that. But when you're going to go to someone, you're not going to really read that. Does that make sense? Okay, same thing.
Okay. So my name is Bill Smith, so I call it the SRL.
Cute.
With
Hence
one
the
agent-
swearing.
With one agent, you get a team of experts working in your best interests, supported with cutting edge technology, expansive knowledge of the market, and the dedication unparalleled in the industry for a seamless transaction with the best outcome.
Okay. All right. I want to go list with Homie. They're cheap.
Okay.
Why? Should I pick you instead? You're like 20 grand.
Well, because the dedication that I'm going to give you is you're not going to find with them. I'm going to give you expert advice, not just a listing. I'm not just going to put you on the MLS. We're going to make sure that your home gets the exposure that it needs for the
Most buyers,
efficient and-
most eyes on your house.
Right.
More eyes on your house, better options of getting buyers. Okay, is that what you're trying to say? Something like that?
with most money and as fast as possible.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Kind of just wrote.
You do like doing this? I hate doing this. First time I had to do this, I cried. Sorry.
I wrote a resume down, in all honesty, but.
Okay.
it's concise
That's okay.
bio. But Matthew Villar, MRED, is experienced in managing and acquiring residential investment properties, acquiring and developing commercial land. For 2018, NAIOP Developer of the Year, St. John Properties, and consulting 200+ real estate professionals in Utah and Arizona on behalf of leading real estate data provider CoStar Group, coupled with the network and reliability of the Keller Williams Cedar Valley brokerage. Matthew is the ideal fit for investors looking for representation in the Utah market.
Okay, really good bio. Now,
That's it. Make it human.
yep, now make it human. Now, no, that can be in your booklet. Okay, that should be in your booklet. Now, how are you bringing me value? Why should I pay you money?
Reliability, experience, knowledge. Questions about it if I would answer type thing.
Okay, so you're available?
Yep.
You have access? Okay, you're not going to wait for 3 days to call me back?
Yep.
What if I call you at 2 in the morning?
Call you back the next day.
Yeah, set those boundaries. I had one that worked graveyards, so every 2 a.m. I'm like, wow, I love you, but okay, I don't work graveyards. Okay, keep going.
So access, availability.
Okay, wait, I'm gonna stop you. I'm your sister. I'm about to use Homie to buy my first house.
Homie isn't going to provide you the same type of care that I will. Homie is a kind of a one-stop shop fits all.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you again. Not that you did it wrong, but we're gonna just take away Homie. Okay. Fred, I'm gonna go list with Fred. Fred said he could really help me. He like puts my photos on the MLS. He hires a professional photographer, and he's like only 1% listing. So sorry, but I think I'm gonna go with him. I'm your sister. Okay.
So has Fred been in contact with you at all on a regular basis? Are you guys talking? Communicating, is he communicating you his thoughts on the market and where your house?
Well,
compares
I'm
to
sure he
others?
knows the market.
So yeah, he's a professional. I definitely believe he knows, but has he been kind of communicating those things back to you?
Good job. Good job turning it around to questions. Okay, now give me why you're better. Personally.
Since I know you, Julia, my sister's name is Julia.
Okay, that's what I wanted my middle name to be, but I didn't get one, so I'm good with that.
So Julia, I know that Fred is coming and giving you the opportunity to have 1% and keep more of your money at the end of the sale. But what you get out of a broker, or sorry, an agent at a brokerage like
No, what you get with me.
at an agent, what you get with me is somebody that's going to be available, reliable, and always going to have your best interest first. If I think that a house is underpriced, I'm going to tell you there's no interest for me to get you to move that house faster. For me, I want to make sure that you have the best experience because I care about my community and my reputation within the community. So I would never make a recommendation that's quick for me to get a commission just because I want to get the deal done fast. For you, it's all about not just because you're my sister, but because you're my client. You'll get the opportunity to know that you're getting what I believe is the best deal.
Okay, all right, Sarah, good job. And none of these have to be, it does not have to be perfect. And I know this is hard. So I know you might not believe me, but I don't role play ever. Okay. When I came to Keller Williams, I was already a top producer. I came from Coldwell Banker and I was selling like 40 houses a year. And I was crying all the time because I didn't have an admin. I didn't know how to keep it up. I didn't want to do that many. And I came here and they're talking about leverage and I learned all that 80-20 and all of this. Okay. And because I came here, have you ever heard of the bold class? No, because you're brand new. There's a bold class. It is bold. Like you are thrown into the fire, except for I went on the new version and it was only top producers were invited because they were rolling out their new stuff. So I was there with all the top leaders of the teams and we had to do role play. And I was like, and there's a guy, his name is Craig Goodleaf. He runs Cyberbacker. So he was a coach too. And he's sitting here trying to get me to role play and I'm literally bawling. Okay. So when I'm pulling stuff out of you or stopping you, I'm not stopping you because you're doing it wrong. I'm just trying to get you to dig deeper. Because when you're talking to people, you need to be real and you need to dig deeper. I don't care. Nobody cares if I've sold 380 or 390 homes. They care how I'm going to sell their home. Nobody cares if I have got 20 buyers lined up. They care how I'm going to help them on their process. Okay.
Okay, so my proposition says, I'm passionate about helping people succeed with their homes. With a background in business and home selling, I know how to invest wisely and stage beautifully. My love for numbers paired with life experience ensures every move is strategic, backed by a strong brokerage. I'll guide you with honesty and care because your success is my success.
Okay. All right. Good job. Now,
Is that too long? I mean, based off these, it just seems a little.
well, you're not going to read that.
Yeah.
You can have that in your thing, you know, and you can fine tune it. Okay. I don't even know what mine is. It's in my booklet somewhere. Okay. I was going to grab it and I forgot. Okay. Now I'm a client. Actually, Bill's your client this time.
And what's the scenario?
He's about to hire a different agent.
Okay.
Okay.
I had this experience.
There you go. Okay. Bill's about to hire another agent. Tell him why he should hire you instead.
Okay, Bill, can you tell me about this other agent that you're thinking about hiring?
We're gonna stay with homie.
Well, let's not use homie because I think it's being recorded and then, I mean, we're just using different agents.
Because they have told me that I can get the most money return by paying less commission, and that they have a guarantee.
Okay, has ABC provided you with that data like CMA's, comparative market analysis?
Yes,
Okay.
but there's times I don't really understand it.
Okay, so, a good realtor would provide you with at least 3 to 5 comparative market analysis. And
Sorry.
Did this?
It's ABC calling in for the signature.
Did ABC give you a value of your home?
Mhm.
Okay. See, that's where the CMA would predict, the data predicts the value of your home, not ABC.
Okay, so what's your approach to that? How do you
Okay.
find that?
So my approach, let's just say hypothetically, I was your realtor and I would compare your home to what's currently on the market now, what's under contract and what has been sold. I would provide that data to you for you to analyze, and then you would set that sell price, not me. So you are completely in control. You're in control of that, not me. My job is to provide, I have expertise in the market, in business, in numbers, in stats. And so this is something I can provide to you. And then from there, that's kind of our first step into, if you do hire me, then, okay, now I'm getting a little confused.
That's okay. Okay. Great. Let's bring it back. When you're getting these questions, just make sure you're not focused on what is in your value proposition, but your personal care for them. And maybe you're not like she and I are caring and loving and nurturing. Maybe you're not caring, loving, and nurturing, but your stats, and this is how I'm going to protect you with this. Correct. Because when they're asking you that question of why they should hire you over ABC, you need to be able to bring it. And I can't tell you what I say every time because it also depends on the conversation that I've had with them.
And so, and this is really new, this is the first time I've done this, so, but would you?
Hey, me too.
Would you be, to me, it kind of makes sense where if, not all the time, but if they're gonna ask you a question, you ask them a question, like, well, what's important to you?
Yeah.
To find out really what their top shelf items are, and then you're thinking, okay, how can I accommodate those? Because that's really, I mean, some people want the most amount of money, some people want to sell it faster, some people want to, have more open, whatever
Yeah.
it is, what's important to them, and then addressing those issues. Is that too far off base where you're
No.
kind of asking them questions?
So you're going to have a value proposition, which is in your thing, which you need to establish. Okay. But you're also going to be having a conversation. And that's why I said, when I'm doing my value proposition, I'm not reading my statement. I've never read my statement. Okay. My statement is there. I can use parts of that statement and create reels about that or do that. Okay. But if I'm having a conversation with you and Trey is asking, okay, why do I hire you? I'm like, well, you have like 18,000 agents you could hire, but we're not all created the same. And let me tell you what I do. Here's what I do, blah, blah, blah. But I should have had a conversation, you were right, ahead of time on what's important, what's their goals, what's their main thing. I've had people ask me questions and I'm like, okay, why are you asking this question? Like, can't remember what it was. But like, she really didn't want the answer. She just read it on a piece of paper that she should ask the question. Okay. So when it came down to it, I'm answering questions that she didn't really care about. So you've got to get down to what is really important to them and then show your value, but you need to know your value. And hopefully this class, whether you're new or you've done it a little while, can give you the value that you can build on in a way. Does that make sense? So like if you're asking me, let's pretend your house is not, let's just do the Elk Ridge house that I have. Okay, listed long time, didn't sell, expired. They had one offer 800. I'm literally running comps and I'm like, well, you probably should have been 750, but since you got an offer, we'll do 800. But I can't guarantee that's where it's going because the market is saying this. And I am going to do this. I am going to stage it. Like my job is to get that house in the best situation so that people will fall in love with it. Because if they fall in love with it, they might pay more money for it. So I'm going to do everything I can to that. And then I'm going to do this. I'm going to do reels. I'm going to do this. And we're going to get as many eyes on that property as possible. And if we can't, then we'll have to drop the price. Like, because I'm giving her a heads up on this specific situation. She wants it gone before winter. It's already been sitting. It's already been listed. And I let her know I'm already coming in at a disadvantage because it's already been on the market. But I'm going to do everything I can. I'm going to up my postcard game. I'm going to up this. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to give you the information. I'm going to tell you all the showings we get. I'm going to fill this in. I'm going to work my head off for this listing for you because I want it to sell as much as you do. And I'm going to do all of this. And then if it doesn't work, then we're going to have to come back and have a conversation. So we just had that conversation yesterday. Okay. I said, I have done double on the staging. I staged extra rooms. I have done this. I have $15,000 on 15,000 views on one reel. I have this, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. We have had 2 showings and 1 was a no-show. I have collaborated with 16 top agents at my office. We all went through your listing, all the photos, all of this. We got the feedback and all of them say, we've got to drop it at least 50 grand. And she said, okay, let me talk to my sisters because it's a trust. Those are always hard. And then I'm like, I'm dreading this conversation, right? Because she hired me because I'm experienced when the new one couldn't sell it. And the new one got an offer. I didn't even get a showing. Okay. So she calls me and she's like, what if we just dropped it to 770? And I said, 16 agents in my office said you at least need to be 750. She goes, okay. Like, I'm thinking I'm going to have a battle. Like, she's not mad at me. Why? Because I expressed it and then I showed her everything that I'm doing. And yeah, that's not a value statement. That's not a proposition, but I am working on that house night and day. I will eat, drink, and sleep your house. If it's not working, I will figure out, I will problem solve, I will get it done. And we might have to make some adjustments, but you will understand why and you will know everything that's happening along the way. It's always different for me. That's why I said on that one where it said like a top agent will have their value proposition. That's why I can't, because that conversation for her is a different conversation than it was for Debbie. The cabin versus the Elk Ridge lady was a different conversation. Debbie's was like, will you cut this? Will you cut this? Will you cut this? I don't really need you. I just need a little bit. And the conversation with Debbie was 100% different. But understand your values, your skills, and what you bring to the table and make them feel it. And you won't win everyone. Just plan on that. You will not win every listing. You will not win every buyer. Your friends will buy with someone else. Brush it off, move on. I still don't win everyone. Okay, it really sucks. And that's all I got today, I think. You're welcome. Anything you learned? Well, good. Go home and work on it, fine tune them, practice just talking to your friends about what you can bring to the table and ask them for feedback. And don't be like, it doesn't have to be perfect. It has to be all about them. Yep. All what you're bringing to for them.
Do you feel like this comes into play more when you're listing a house as opposed to a buyer? Like there's more that, because when you're listing a house, it seems like you want to tell them everything that you're going to do to try to get more exposure, more people to the home, and get it on more people's minds. Whereas a buyer, you're more saying, we're going to bring you, I'm going to send you things, and you may be like, no, I don't, that's not what I'm looking for. But do you feel like it's you're selling more to somebody who wants to list their home than somebody who wants to buy a home?
So I think on the selling side, you have to win them over because they're paying you what they think. And despite the NAR settlement, every house I've gone to since then is still paying the buyer's agent. Okay. Because they'd be dumb not to. And that's what you have to explain to your seller, which is not in here. So when you go in there, you can say, like, talk about that lawyer. The price has been baked in because back in the day, buyers couldn't afford to buy houses because they had to come with the down payment, the closing cost, and their buyer's agent. So sellers started paying that. So that helped sellers and it helped buyers and it increased the price. So it's been baked in for decades. Now, if you decide that they have to pay their buyer's agent, that buyer may not be able to afford your house, so they will go find a house that does. It is not the agent that will do it, it's the buyer that will do it. So yeah, on a listing, you have to explain that value and why you deserve the money they're giving to you. Previously on the buyer's side, they all thought we worked for free, even though we didn't. So they didn't really care because they weren't the ones forking over the money. But you now need to, well, you should have explained it in your buyer broker anyway, because it's in there. But you now need, other states didn't have a buyer broker, just for those who didn't know. Okay. Some of them didn't have the buyer broker agreement. You still have to state that. So they still might have to pay me some money if a house doesn't, according to that buyer broker agreement. So you do have to submit your value and show them your value for that, because if they get stuck paying you, they need to know why and be willing to sign that they will do it.
Do you have a suggestion for resources to, like, some of the things that may come up, and so I can kind of practice them and say, okay, well, this may come up, so what would my response be? And I know some of this will just come up.
I think it's probably in some of the other classes. So when you do like a listing class and a buyer class, those will come up more there. Let me look. I don't know, because I've done it for 10 years. So yeah. No, ask Cameron. He wants to know what some of the most common questions that you'll be asked.
Hey, this may come up, or this comes up a lot, so have an answer for that. Because, I mean, like, you're asking questions and I feel like I'm stuttering because I'm like, geez, I haven't even thought of that yet, and I kind of want to think it through.
Right.
Kind of
And I'm
like that.
wanting you to think it through and stutter, and I don't expect you to have the
That's
answers.
why this is uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But it's a great class.
Good. Uncomfortable is growing. It was way more comfortable for me because I didn't have to role play. Actually, I kind of did. So I guess I was Julia. I'll hire you. Yeah. Okay. Any questions for me? Besides most frequently asked questions, you know what you should do? Most questions to ask your realtor on Google. That's what they pulled up for me. No, they Googled it. What questions should you ask a realtor when you're interviewing them? They had that form.
You know, when I interviewed with KW, I went to ChatGPT and said, give me 10 questions to ask a brokerage that I want to work under. And I interviewed Shoni, and Shoni was like, where did you come up with these questions?
Okay, but did you care about the questions?
No, I really, it gave me a bunch, and I said, here's what I care about, and then
Okay.
it fine-tuned it to me. So my biggest thing, the reason why I chose Keller Williams was because of the culture. Shoni was like, our top selling agents are moms. He didn't make it sound like old moms like me, you know, older. But he's like, our top selling agents here are women who have children.
Okay, but see, that's not going to work for them.
No, I know that, but that's.
I know, but see, you have to tailor your presentation to who you're talking to.
That's why
Yeah.
It was my number one culture, because all these other places have like 20 and 30-year-olds that just kill it, you know.
But we have those too.
Yeah, but you didn't.
But he didn't bring that up to you because that wasn't important to you.
Yeah, so my culture, but anyway, I guess what I'm saying, you could go to chat and ask it those questions.
I'm glad you said that too, because now I'm thinking back when I was interviewing Shoni also. Only probably maybe half of my questions for him were things that were important. What was really important to me was the tone I got. From the moment I walked through the front door, how were people? Were they happy? And I got this from, of all places, Costco, because I worked for Costco for a while. I could walk into a building, like I walk into the Lehigh building, and I'm like, oh, this is terrible. I mean, the tone, the morale, the people, they're not happy. I walked in here, it's light, it's bright, people are fun, they're saying hi, they're enjoying what they're doing, and that's important. And so it was really with Shoni, it was more a tone. But also, I mean, he's got that dialed in, and he kind of numbed my brain with all the stuff he was giving me, the technology out of. Whoa.
See, that's also why you got to tone it. Maybe you're super tech and you come into someone like me and I'll be like, I don't care. I just want you to like sell my house. I don't want to hear how you do it. But then somebody else will be like, I want to know exactly this, this, and this. You have to be able to mirror what they want.
And so there's a bunch of different tests out there, but what I've had the most experience with was the best test. And it's identifying people's personalities.
Yep.
Are they bold, expressive, sympathetic, or technical? And you have to try to accommodate that. Sometimes it's really hard because you're like, I can't tell really what you are. But then trying to change what the information I'm getting and how I'm conveying it to what their personality is.
And you may get somebody who's into land development. So like his 2 acres, can that be subdivided? Like, you know, I've got a listing coming up because I own Airbnbs. It got passed down from Park City to Angie over to me. And now I've got to get some commercial people to help too. So like you just don't know which one is going to be for that. So just know your value so you can tell it because you're getting paid, and do your value. You scared me. What? Like if you tell people you're going to do something, you better do it. And please learn the paperwork. Don't send over an offer without reading it. Yep, so it's totally different than commercial.
I'm not, it's,
Yeah.
I've never been.
See ya, nice
I've
to meet
only
you.
been on the Negotiation side as the owner, not as a broker, no.
Yep. Anyway, all right. Thanks for coming.
That's why I was already late.
How is your phone so dead so early?